Nervous system starts simply from this tube, neural tube. Neural tube changes to first 3 vesicle stage. 3 vesicle. The first one prosencephalon, second one mesencephalon, and third one rhombencephalon. And these 3 vesicle, this vesicle further change to 2, this one change to 2, and this vesicle just a 1, just a single. There's a vesicle here. Number 1 telencephalon, diencephalon, and this vesicle not change as a mesencephalon. This vesicle again change to 2, metencephalon and myelencephalon. So this part telen, this part dien, this part mesencephalon, and this part is metencephalon, and this part myelencephalon. Myelin, meten, meson, dien, and telen. How the brain developed from these structures. Telen and dien is a forebrain. It's a forebrain here, and under this we're having here thalamus, subthalamus, epithalamus. It's a subthalamus, sorry, it's a hypothalamus, not subthalamus. It's a hypothalamus, subthalamus, hypothalamus, thalamus, is epithalamus. And under this, then here we having mesencephalon is your midbrain. Next down to midbrain, pons, medulla, and is your spinal cord. Just behind to this is the cerebellum. It's a cerebellum. This big part is your cerebrum. It's a cerebrum. Big part cerebrum, and this one is your cerebellum. Cerebrum here is a cerebellum. What's this part? It's the midbrain. This part is pons. This part is medulla. Pons, medulla, midbrain. And behind this is a cerebellum. Telencephalon and diencephalon is known as forebrain. Meson is midbrain, and meten and myelin is a hindbrain. In hindbrain we're having cerebellum, pons, medulla. This metencephalon change to pons and cerebellum, and myelencephalon change to medulla. And down to medulla is a spinal cord. It's a spinal cord. It's a full development of all different brain parts. In this lecture I also talk about the cerebrospinal fluid system. Cerebrospinal fluid system, CSF. Cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid system. Cerebrospinal fluid system was the function of this fluid. This fluid gives protection to brain, give protection, or it act like shock absorber. Act like shock absorber, and this filter system is also important for nutrition. It's also important for nutrition of your brain tissue. And how this system is formed. This system basically formed by how the CSF will produce. Little histology point of view here. We have cells named ependymal cells. These ependymal cells responsible for production of CSF. These cells are present in central nervous system. These cells are part of central nervous system and help for production of CSF. Along with these cells, I give a little more view about the histology of nervous system. In nervous system, we having different category of cells. Number one cells, neurons. And neurons, these are the functional cells. Neurons are the main functional cells. We're having cells here. Number two, astrocyte. Astrocytes. The astrocytes, the basic function is sport of the neuron, and these cells also responsible for nutrition, and these cells also help to form blood-brain barrier. The third one, number three, small size cell, microglial cells. These are the white blood cells. A derivative of white blood cell here is a macro function like macrophage. Macrophage, better word here, defense. Is for defense. Number four, just now we talk about ependymal cell. Ependymal cell for CSF fluid production. Number five, oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes for myelin sheath of CNS neuron. Number six, Schwann cell. Number six, Schwann cells, same function like oligodendrocytes, responsible for myelin sheath, but for peripheral nervous system, make the myelin sheath of the nerves, neuron present inside the nerves. Okay, come back to CSF system again. Our main focus here, ependymal cell responsible for CSF fluid production. CSF fluid production done by ependymal cells. What's the location of ependymal cell? When nervous system start developing from this neural tube, inside the cells present here, the neural tube lined by inside the cells present here, ependymal cell. When neural tube expand to vesicle stage, primary vesicle, then 5 number secondary vesicle, these ependymal cells still present inside. These ependymal cells still present inside and continuously they producing CSF. We have fluid inside this. The fluid inside here, CSF. When the brain when the development of brain is complete, for example, here the cerebellum development complete, and here we having diencephalon level, is a thalamus. Here we having the midbrain level, is a midbrain, and next we having pons, next we having medulla, and continue with spinal cord. The structure behind here, cerebellum, is a cerebellum, pons, medulla, cerebellum, and this is your cerebrum. This CSF system is also developing along with this the brain development. I want to draw for simplicity. I will draw this structure outside here. Okay, here you can see here it's a lateral ventricle. This part of CSF system develop inside cerebrum. Next we having connection with the, it's not this lateral ventricle 2 in number. I draw with another color here. They're 2 in number. Lateral ventricles 2 in numbers, 1, 2. Because the brain, the cerebrum, the 2 hemisphere, 2 in number, 2 half. 1 ventricle present in this one, shape like this, and 1 ventricle present in this one. So that's why 2 in number. Lateral ventricle. It's also lateral ventricle. It's also lateral ventricle. Lateral ventricle continue with another ventricle here, ventricle number 3. It's a third ventricle. The third ventricle, how it develops? The big part of third ventricle is a hypothalamus present between 2 hypothalamus. And here we having connection here. This connection is an opening. This opening is foramen. There's a foramen present between 2 lateral ventricles and third ventricle. This foramen name foramen Monro. And next, in midbrain develop. In the midbrain, the CSF system is also developed because CSF system present inside this tube. You can see here clearly. The CSF system is also developing along with the development of brain. One duct is developed. This duct known as cerebral aqua means water, duct is duct. The water is moving from cerebrum to downward. So cerebral aqueduct. Cerebral you can write here in detail, cerebral aqueduct. The cerebral aqueduct present in midbrain. Now next part, next here is a midbrain done, diencephalon done, telencephalon done, mesencephalon done. Now move on rhombencephalon level. In the rhombencephalon, I already explained why we give name to this rhombencephalon, because we have rhomboid shape, is a ventricle shape, and this ventricle is a cerebral aqueduct. I continue with this cerebral aqueduct. This cerebral aqueduct continue downward to another rhomboid shaped ventricle. This ventricle is a ventricle number 4. It's a fourth ventricle. Present between, you can see here, a half of ventricle present between pons and cerebellum, and half ventricle present between medulla and cerebellum. Cerebellum behind, pons and medulla on front side. Is a fourth ventricle. Then this fourth ventricle, next level is spinal cord. This fourth ventricle continue downward. In spinal cord, in the center of the spinal cord, if we take the cross section of the spinal cord, we can see spinal cord structure something like this. So outside the spinal cord, in the central part of spinal cord, the butterfly shape, it's a gray matter here. In the center of this gray matter, we having here one hole. This opening is a central canal. It's a central canal. So central canal present here in the center of the spinal cord. The CSF system, the part of CSF system developed inside the spinal cord, and this canal known as central canal. This central canal terminate when spinal cord finish, or is a terminate is a ventricle number 5, fifth ventricle, the last end of spinal cord. There is a fluid system present inside the brain and spinal cord. Lateral ventricle connected third ventricle using one foramen Monroe connected third ventricle connected to fourth ventricle using one duct, cerebral aqueduct. Cerebral aqueduct present in midbrain. And this fourth ventricle present in hindbrain between pons, medulla on front side, and cerebellum present on behind side posteriorly. The fourth ventricle continue downward with the central canal terminating fifth ventricle. Central canal terminating fifth ventricle. It's all about the CSF system. Now the CSF system, the other part of CSF system, if I cover this full brain with the meninges, I use here a bit different color. Okay, it's the meninges here. These meninges cover the full brain and spinal cord. Full brain and spinal cord, complete covering. I already explained in the meninges topic. One meninge completely attached to the brain, I say pia mater. Completely attached to brain is the pia mater. Attached to the spinal cord, continue downward. Again attached to cerebellum. Midbrain behind thalamus. It's blue in color here. I draw. It's a pia mater, and this layer is arachnoid matter. It's a pia mater. Okay, this space, the space between pia mater and arachnoid matter, this space having what? Again having this CSF. The question here, how this CSF enter to this space from arachnoid layer till pia mater. This space name is subarachnoid space. This subarachnoid space have connection to fourth ventricle. Now fourth ventricle here, I erase a bit little part here. Fourth ventricle here having connection, having two foramen here. I just draw for simplicity two foramen here. One foramen, actually in number they are three in number. One is foramen Lashka. Another foramen Magendie. Foramen Lashka and foramen Magendie. Lashka 2 in number and Magendie 1 in number. We have this foramen. Now the water produced inside this ventricle system. Here we having aqueduct. This aqueduct is going upward to connect it with the. Here we having third ventricle, and third ventricle connected to lateral ventricle. These lateral ventricle already described here. The lateral ventricle present inside cerebellum. So this ventricle system present inside the brain. Now CSF system, water is flowing from up to down, going to third ventricle, then to aqueduct, then to fourth ventricle. Now the CSF system also traveling down to central canal, and then from the fourth ventricle level is also going out to subarachnoid space. Now this ventricle is CSF system. This is CSF fluid. This fluid is CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid is now flowing around the brain. Before traveling inside the brain, now is flowing around the brain and act like a cushion. It's a CSF system. It's a full CSF system. The full introduction about CSF system.